Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Strong Collector Podcast. My name is Dakota.
And I'm Jordan. And we have wrapped up the Build-A-Figure segments of the different waves of the year. And now we are transitioning to talking about some other figures. And those include... Dakota, what do they include?
Well, we are going to mention that there was a Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure wave.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I have already forgotten about it. Sorry, spoiler alert. That tells you how we felt about this wave, maybe.
That's going to wrap up our segment on the Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure wave. That I told Jordan.
The Eternals figures.
I told Jordan that if you watch The Office, you might understand my reference, but that could be on the cover of Action Figures I Don't Care About magazine. I did enjoy the movie, but like I said before, I don't do MCU figures very often, and they had decent likeness to the characters, I think. It looked like good sculpting, but they all just looked too similar to me. Like they all had that
kind of generic.
Right. It's the same as if like they had put out a movie X-Men from the like X-Men 1, 2, or 3 from back in the day where they all just had the black leather. There's not enough difference there that I'm going to really love to display that team. So that's why I wasn't a huge fan of that.
And I'll say with this one, I think they could have benefited from having some comic book characters. Because really in the comics, they're the Jack Kirby designs that are really like kind of bombastic and colorful and weird and crazy. So that would have been fun to have. Like you can look up, if you're listening to this, the like comic book version of Icarus from the Eternals. Like he looks kind of funny, but it would be almost like, yeah, that's kind of a cool throwback figure to have.
Right.
So,
but then you would have not completed your wave. You would have had not a whole team, and then you'd have to have those figures come out another, and just they'd be. I'm glad they did it in one fell swoop. They ended it,
took it all out,
and yeah,
And if you go to Target now, you'll see about 300 of them.
Yep, exactly. So if you are feeling like you need more action figures, go pick up the Eternals. They're probably on clearance. Even if you're listening to this next year, you might be able to find them. Sorry, Hasbro. This one just wasn't for me, and I think a lot of people are in that same boat. But like I said, I mean, it really could be good. I know with Katie, that was one that a lot of people didn't care about when it first came out, but a lot of people were able to practice customizing, and that was kind of their entryway into that area. So maybe these Eternals will be some people's entryway into customizing, and they'll test out their painting and sculpting abilities. But anyway, that's really all we've got on the Gilgamesh wave. We didn't pick up any of those, and chances are you maybe didn't either. But the waves that we are going to cover a little bit more in depth, we're going to talk about the Infinity Saga, and then we're going to cover some of the sets and exclusives, including some of the retro releases that came out. So, starting out with our Infinity Saga wave, even though I don't do very much of the MCU, I did pick up a couple of these, and I did get the Iron Man originally, and then I traded him for something I can't remember. Might have been a Spawn figure, but I don't know if you have this same thought, Jordan, but I feel like these Infinity Saga wave figures are almost a higher quality than the typical Legends. I think their joints move a little bit more smooth, especially that Iron Man. When I took him out of the package and started like moving his joints around, it just felt super smooth straight away. Didn't feel cheap in any of the parts. They come with a lot of accessories. That Iron Man comes with things I don't even know where they went. So what are your thoughts kind of on the overall quality of the wave?
I enjoyed, I liked the Thor a lot. Mm-hmm. This is the first time we've seen that version of Thor, the Endgame, where he's, the bro Thor as I guess we saw him as a build figure, but as far as like the souped up,
right.
battle version, so to speak. Yeah, I liked him. I liked that they came with more accessories. I feel like, for some reason, the Stormbreaker was a little tiny compared to, like, I have the Build-A-Figure Stormbreaker, which is actually bigger than the one that came with, and I have that one with my Thor now, I think. Just, I don't know, it's better. Yeah. A little more substantial. I mean, but the figure itself was nice.
In the box.
Oh, there you go.
And yeah, he comes with a lot of stuff. He's got Stormbreaker and Mjolnir. He's got a lightning effect and then 2 extra hands. So that's quite a bit to be packed in.
Can you flip that around real quick, though, just so we can see on the video for those of you watching? But he's got both of his hammers have like the blue lightning effect, which is cool. But it maybe would have been nice to get at least one of those just plain
powered down.
Maybe just a plain Mjolnir. I think that way you have some variety. But
yeah,
I don't know.
To kind of
maybe
counter that, I think it's because we've had so many of a regular Mjolnir that they gave us a powered up version for the first time. So, but yeah, I agree. I think, I mean,
I'm gonna find something to complain about.
Yeah, hey, you.
That's the way of a strong collector. He complains.
That's true. That does seem to be the case. But yeah, the blue is kind of like that translucent blue-ish look to it. I mean, I still have them in the box, so I can just look at it and assume. But I mean, the lightning effect does look pretty good. But then I will say, too, that I've got Odin here, who I don't think we've ever gotten an Odin before. I know Diamond Select did their big destroyer, which had the alternate Odin head. I guess we got that Odin Build-A-Figure, the All-Father wave.
But not, at least not an MCU
version. But I think this Odin is a little on the small side. I mean, I know he's maybe not supposed to be as big as Thor, but I kind of always envision him being as big as Thor. But comparing him to my variant Loki, I think Loki is actually taller than Odin. So that's a little disappointing, even though Odin is still a really cool figure. He's got a good cape. It's movable. It's not the stiff plastic. But another downside to Odin is he comes with the alternate head sculpt, and I don't know why. It's kind of like one of those corporate wants you to find the difference between these two pictures, and they're the same picture. I mean, it's obviously a little different because he's got a tiny bit of teeth showing in his alternate head, and the other one his mouth is closed, but the difference is completely negligible, and I don't know why you would need those two. Yeah. I mean, if he had a yelling face, like he's yelling at Thor or something like that. He comes with his big trident spear thing. That's cool. But yeah, I would have liked my Odin to be slightly bigger. Doesn't have to be as big as Thor, but still I'd want him to be close. But yeah, those are the 3 that I've had. And have you opened your Odin yet?
I've not, actually. Okay. The one I've spent the most time with is going to be Thor. I actually have him out on my display shelf right now. But I liked the Thor quite a bit. I didn't get the Captain America just because I thought he was kind of a bad sculpt, at least on the face. And I wasn't really interested in getting the bracers he has in Infinity War. I don't know. So that one didn't really appeal to me too much.
Right.
But
I mean,
I think it was cool to kind of give you a chance to get some of these MCU figures that I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to keep releasing MCU Iron Mans. Just
true.
It seems like they've kind of done what they have to do with those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that was kind of like one last chance to get a.
Yeah, and that Iron Man was
RDJ Iron Man.
I think that was probably my favorite Iron Man suit to get was that Infinity Saga, because that's from the first movie, that I think Mark III suit. So that was cool. I liked that. And then running down the list of other figures here, we've got the Quicksilver, which I know a lot of people liked that he came with the like broken Ultron pieces. Then we've got our 2-pack of Iron Man Mark 85, which I think we have a few versions of that Mark 85, and then Thanos. So that one I think comes with the Iron Man where he's all beat up and doing the snap with the stones. Then we've got the Happy and Iron Man 21, that gold Iron Man from Iron Man 3. Then we've got the Captain Marvel and Rescue / Pepper Potts 2-pack from Endgame. And I know a lot of people were really disappointed with that one just because it was like the same Captain Marvel that we had gotten previously, and Rescue really wasn't too much different, maybe a few extra pieces. So if you had already gotten those, I could see why you would want to pass on that just because you're not getting much different. However, if you didn't have those before, I think that this Captain Marvel looks pretty cool, and that Rescue with the extra accessories was maybe worth it to pick up the Infinity Saga versions of those characters. And then the last 2-pack was Obadiah Stane and the Ironmonger 2-pack, which I've heard a lot of great things about that Ironmonger. Makes me want to find him and pick him up if I can find him for a decent price, as they like to say. And then the last figure in that group is going to be Surtur, who is another one that Walmart had him on clearance a few weeks ago for, I think, $25, and I was too slow. I missed out on it, and I think that would have been an insane steal for that size of a figure, because I think I looked it up, I think he's just a couple inches shy of the Toy Biz Galactus height, maybe even right there at that same height. So looked really cool with all the burnt fire effects, kind of that translucent reddish orange, and he came with that giant sword. So he's one that I'd like to hopefully find in the future to add to my small MCU collection. Do you have anything else you wanted to add to the Infinity Saga section here, Jordan?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of them I just didn't really get. Like the Happy and Iron Man 2 gold. Like, I guess some people wanted a Happy Hogan, but like, do we really need another gold Iron Man suit? Like, you couldn't have pitched somebody else out. And maybe they were going heavy on Iron Man because, like I said, maybe there's no more MCU Iron Man, so they wanted to do
milk it for all it's worth.
The Endgame one, yeah, but again, it's kind of like we've gotten. Seems like even a lot of Thanoses. Yeah. Like, we got the Build-A-Figure.
We've gotten like 2 or 3 Build-A-Figure Thanoses.
The other Build-A-Figure, and then the comic Build-A-Figure, and now it's like. And I know people were mad that didn't he not come with a non-gloved hand?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure. People were mad that it's like you could only have Thanos with the Nano Gauntlet, which is like, yeah. That is kind of frustrating. So, I don't know. I mean, outside of Surtur, just because he's huge. Right. And Thor, because and even the basic Iron Man. But for the most part, the other ones didn't really grab me. I mean, if you were going to do an Infinity, unless there's more Infinity Sagas coming, but it feels like it wasn't really spanning the Infinity Saga. It was kind of just like Iron Man with a dash of Thor, I guess. And then, like, it would have been nice. Why did we not get, like, a classic Loki?
True.
From Avengers? Or, I don't know. I guess they've done the Red Skull, but just pick up some figures that maybe would have been a little more like, oh, that's cool to have. I don't know.
Yeah.
Didn't ram me.
I don't remember that there was too many out of that. Because you'd mentioned Red Skull, and I think he was a part of that first 10 years wave, where they also had, I think they had the Ultron and Ronin, and for some reason I'm only imagining villains from that wave, but that would have made sense to, especially in that wave, if it was, like, I'm only remembering the villains from it, if they would have had a classic Loki to go with those other characters. Because I think I don't have that Ronin, but that Ronin looks pretty cool. And those look like in that same vein of this Infinity Saga. But yeah, it definitely very Iron Man heavy. And yeah, I know a lot of people liked that Happy and then just tried to sell off that gold Iron Man I could see that gold Iron Man maybe being good for customizers if they painted their own version of Iron Man there. But
yeah. So a lot of these, I think a lot of them did go on clearance. So if you found them there, they'd be good. But I wouldn't have wanted to pay top dollar for most of them.
That's true.
Personally,
yeah, that is the only way I got Odin. I think he was on sale for 11. Back he was like the shipping crisis where there was like no figures left on the shelves, and I think there was more coming in, so they were trying to clear them off. So got him for 11, and then I found Thor for 15. So, and like I said, I wanted to pick up Surtur for that 25. Probably not going to pay 50 for him, but I think if I found him for 30 peeled. Or close to that, I would definitely shell out if I didn't already go crazy in the week buying other things. Just hard to do sometimes.
But when do you not, as a strong collector, if you get to the end of the week and you haven't exhausted your collecting funds, what are you doing?
All right. Well, we're going to move on from the Infinity Saga, and we're going to move into the sets and exclusives, deluxes, things like that we haven't previously mentioned. Like in our last episode, we'd mentioned the Hydra Stomper and the Stealth Captain Carter. So those aren't going to be a part of this group. Those will have previously been mentioned, but we'll talk about some of the other ones that we either missed or that didn't really fit into a wave really well. And a lot of these,
there are quite a few sets and exclusives.
Yes.
That we're going to have to cover here.
So these, we might not really go in depth very much on a lot of them. Some of them we'll just mention, maybe have something to say about it, or maybe just move right on. I have maybe a little less than half of these. So we'll talk about what we've got, what we've heard, and possibly just move right over the rest. So first one, there was the Amazon exclusive Dusty Deadpool, which just reading that and seeing it, I don't know why that was really an option.
Was that the MCU one?
Yes.
That had he was grayed out?
Yes, he was gray.
Okay, I had that one.
You have that one. Excellent.
I had that one. Okay. I had it, but
What are your thoughts?
Sorry, no longer. It was fine. I mean, I would have rather it just been the red and black. But the figure was pretty detailed. I mean, it had a lot of articulation and a lot of different hands and weapons and stuff that were cool.
Okay.
But I don't really know why you'd want a grayed out Deadpool.
That's kind of what I was thinking, is if, like, at some point, if there was an explosion and you wanted your Deadpool to look like he had just been through an explosion, but, I mean, I guess that seemed like around the same time that we were getting every sort of Deadpool variation under the sun, whether it was him in an X-Men costume, 3 different regular red ones, an MCU one, Deadpool in his underwear, Deadpool in a suit. So I guess that was the time that they were just throwing Deadpool, and people were either eating it up or really getting sick of it. So moving on to the next one, we have the Silver Surfer Fallen, the Walgreens exclusive Obsidian Surfer. So I've still got mine in the box. I'll probably end up taking him out for sure before we get Galactus. But this one is cool, I think, because he's got, I mean, Silver Surfer himself is awesome, comes with the board, but he's also got Thor's hammer Mjolnir, and then he's got the purple power effects that you can put on his fists, which is a pretty cool touch.
Like so. I'm holding them up right now. They're like bursts of cosmic energy. Mm-hmm. And this is from the Thanos Wins storyline, where, as the name implies, Thanos defeats and kills pretty much all the Marvel heroes. And he teleports Thanos from the past to the future because he basically realizes the only person who can present a challenge to Thanos is, of course, Thanos. So, through that, there's some twists and turns. You get a alternate take of Silver Surfer. He comes with Mjolnir, which is kind of cool. Spoiler alert if you haven't read the comic, but Yeah, I mean, I heard people say good things about this one, and I was not disappointed by it. I think he's a pretty cool, because you've had this one loose too, or
Nope, I've never had him out
do
of the
you have
box.
one or no? Oh, okay.
I just had him in the box.
Yeah, I mean, he clips on pretty well to the board. The difficulty with the Hasbros can be, that's what I thought was cool about the Toy Biz ones. They have, like, I remember he had a stand you could put the board on, so he's levitating. Otherwise, you gotta suspend him or something, or you just have to have him surfing the ground with his cosmic board, which is not as cool.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty cool one. I was glad to see them adapting that character, and I think goes well with the next figure, which is the Deluxe Thanos, that comes with multiple heads, one of which is the regular Thanos head, and he also comes with the Old Man Thanos head, which is from the storyline I described. Dakota's holding him up right now, where he's got his more of a classic-looking Thanos with those brighter yellows and blues. How do you feel about this Thanos, Dakota?
I am a big fan of this Thanos. I think if you're collecting comic book-based figures, this is your definitive Thanos. He comes with, like you said, the alternate heads, and he's also got the alternate hands where he's got the snapping hand with all of the Infinity Stones in his gauntlet, which is pretty cool. And then he's got regular, I think maybe a fisted hand or like a outstretched grabbing hand. The colors on this one I think are exactly what I would want out of my Thanos. They're really bright gold, kind of that blue that just looks like this Thanos. You picked him up right off the comic book. Head sculpts are good. I haven't read that Old Man Thanos, or not the Old Man Thanos, but the Thanos Wins storyline. But the head sculpt on that looks good with the beard, and then just the regular comic book head sculpt looks awesome too. So I highly recommend that Thanos for sure.
Alright, so moving down our list.
Next up is Firestar, another one that I have trapped in her plastic prison. She'll be freed, sometime. But she comes with an alternate head sculpt, so she's got the hair swooping off to the side and then just the regular hair down. She comes with the fire effects, which I think maybe are the same effects as the Scarlet Witch from the last episode we talked about. That like smaller flaming that you can attach to her wrists. And then she also comes with Ms. Lion, the dog. So if you've watched Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends...
Yeah.
What were you saying, Jordan?
No, I was just going to make the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends connection where he's roommates with Iceman and Firestar. I believe at the time they wanted to use the Human Torch, but they couldn't. So they made up a new character, which was Firestar, who was basically a female Human Torch. My remembrance of the cartoon.
Right. And like I said, I don't have her.
That's cool they added Miss Lion, though.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's
a nice touch.
Kind of the thing. I've seen her loose, but didn't come with Ms. Lion, and I was like, I don't want Firestar if I don't have Ms. Lion. So that was definitely a really good touch that they added there. Even the cardboard backing behind her, I don't know if you can see on the video, but it kind of looks like that Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, where the room kind of transforms into their version of their Batcave. So that's cool. And then, it doesn't take much to build yourself a Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends team, because all you need is Spider-Man, Iceman, and Firestar. So, pretty cool figure there. If you're a Spider-Man fan, I think you should have her, just for that reason. And I've seen some people do some 3D printings of the, 3D Man or something like that, 2D Man. And that looks pretty cool too, as your Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends villain. But then moving down the list, we've got the Green She-Hulk, which if you got the gray She-Hulk from I think it was the Super Scroll Build-A-Figure wave. This She-Hulk is the same mold, same head sculpts, alternate hands, just painted green. I have both of these, and I think they're both pretty good. I like the sculpt on it. She's a lot larger than some of your typical female figures, kind of like Jordan said in our last episode, where he thought that Sylvie had kind of stick hands or stick arms. She-Hulk's definitely got the muscles because that's obviously her power. And I like this one a little bit more than that gray one just because typically She-Hulk is green. So here we've got our green She-Hulk, and this was actually a birthday present from Jordan. So
that's right.
Next up on our list, sticking with the Hulk theme, we've got the Deluxe Maestro or Maestro Hulk, however you prefer to say it. I prefer Maestro Hulk. Jordan says it's Maestro. You say tomato,
yeah,
I say tomato. So
there he is. This is another alternate future where you have an old Hulk who all the heroes have died, and he has defeated most of them, and is just a bald Hulk with a big old beard, and I guess he's got some hair there right in the back.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Dakota. I want to say same sculpt or body as the 80th.
Yep, same sculpt.
80th Hulk.
Toe to, let's see. Yeah, head to toe, or well, not head. So neck to toe is the same head sculpt. You just have the, like you said, the bearded, long-haired version of Hulk. And then he's got the gold-plated necklace, and then he also comes with the gold wrist gauntlet type things, but you can take the hands off and then slide those gauntlets out, and then if you would put the green Hulk head on this one, I don't know that there would be much of a difference. I mean, this one has a little bit more of a black wash over it, kind of making him look a little bit older. But other than that, I haven't actually tried that head swap yet, but it's probably pretty similar. The colors might match up pretty well. But yeah, it's I think it's the perfect body mold for Hulk. He's got the butterfly joints going back. I know some people want the butterfly joints coming in a little bit more, but I think they come in plenty. You don't really need Hulk coming in that far, and I think that would cut into more of that, like the chest muscles that he's got, and I think that's more important than the butterflies coming in. So yeah, good figure. He's another one, though, that I got in a smoky trade with the Captain America, so he's also still needing another bath because, yeah, he smells like smoke. Not as bad as when I first got him. We did do some work to clean him up a little bit, but
scrubbed him up.
Back to the bath for him.
Back to the bath.
Next.
And then next we have our Modoc, who Dakota has been raving about the Modoc recently, which, I don't know, a lot of people, I think this Modoc went down to like $20 clearance in a lot of Targets. Actually, I saw a lot of them.
When I got this one, I got it out of the mail, and I have the box back here, but on the back of it, there's a sticker. The person I bought it from bought it for $10. So they doubled their money by a little bit. They sold it to me for, I think I got him for $25. So they made some money, but I still got a cheap one. But yeah, if you listen to our last episode on the What You Got, which we forgot to do on this episode, please forgive us. Maybe we'll do the What You Got as the wrap up. But yeah, this Modoc is really good. The sculpt is nice. The colors are good. It blows the Toy Biz Modoc out of the water, and I have the AIM soldiers, so if you've got the AIM soldiers, I'd say he's a must, but I know Modoc's not for everybody. If you don't have the AIM soldiers, you probably don't really need yourself a Modoc, but I'm glad I picked him up, and I'm trying to convince Jordan that he needs one too.
Well, I'll keep my eyes peeled.
Next on the list, we've got the Walmart exclusive John Walker. That was one, the last episode I mentioned I wanted to get Surtur for a crazy deal. Jordan wanted to get John Walker for cheap, and we were too slow. Not too much to say on that one. Neither one of us have him. I personally liked the packaging there. The colors looked good on him versus the Falcon wing Build-A-Figure wave, but if you had that one, then you probably don't need two John Walkers. Then next on the list, we've got the Walgreens exclusive Nova, which I still have not seen at any Walgreens around me. I think you've had a similar experience with that, Jordan.
Yeah.
Walgreens exclusives.
Walgreens around here are still rocking the figures from 3 years ago, for the most part.
Yeah, still have the, I don't even know, like the yellow Daredevil for a while. I think they finally sold that one, but yeah, they're very dusty figures around these parts, and don't know if I'll ever see any of the cool Walgreens exclusives. May as well be Dunkin' Donuts exclusives, but did you like that one?
Could you imagine? That'd be great. That's good. That's funny.
You could have a blob.
Did you write that one beforehand?
I mean, I thought about it earlier. I was like,
really? I'm going to make that joke.
Right, well, you're welcome to have it. I mean, I could see a blob.
No, I'm just saying, like, you were thinking, oh, that's a good joke.
Yes.
I'm going to use that.
Yes. And
I need to start writing my jokes before this, then.
There you go. Have a little script in front of you. That one I had to keep that one in my head and fit it in at the right time.
Yeah. You nailed it. Yeah, no, those Walgreens exclusives can be tough. What was not tough to find was the Mobius Target exclusive. That's true. Falling off the shelves. I did buy that one. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's cool to have a Mobius toy because he came with the little stick, vaporizer stick, and the little temp pad thing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine he would be cool to pair with your Loki.
Yeah, it's nice if you're wanting Loki and Sylvie and all that, but again, I don't know. I mean, I guess you could, again, that could be one you could even customize and turn into a cool civilian costume, maybe. But unless you're, like, real into the Loki show or a total completionist, you probably wouldn't get it.
I think that's the first Owen Wilson action figure we've ever gotten.
That's true.
You're a big Owen Wilson fan.
Something. Yeah, hop on that. One we have got before is Vulture MCU, which was a Build-A-Figure, but has now been reissued as a deluxe, which may have upset some people, but that's another one that I think my Target right now has like 10 of them, and they're going on clearance, so maybe that one just didn't really connect with people. I mean, we haven't seen the Vulture character since the Homecoming movie, which came out several years ago, so it does seem kind of like an odd choice.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one was an odd choice.
He's supposed to be in... Yeah.
Yeah, and like I think I just cut you off. You were going to say maybe he's going to show up if they end up having him in the new Mobius movie, and then that leads into a Sinister Six movie, which I really hope doesn't happen. I mean, there goes our chances of Sony sponsorship, but I really hope Sony, the Morbius and all the other weird Spider-Man villain movies they have coming just all tank, and Disney's able to get all those rights back, and we can have a proper Sinister Six movie with those villains in one single universe rather than these odd Sony MCU who gets what
offshoots.
Right.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then also on our list we have the Compound Hulk, which is a Walmart exclusive.
That was one that was going on clearance early. Like that one got released and then seemed like it almost immediately went on clearance for like 20 or $25.
And again, that's one that's like, I think that appeared in like a single issue, which was not really that big of a thing. So another one that seems kind of like, not sure what the decision making was behind that. Yeah, I guess we need to describe it. It's a half green, half red Hulk. So if you like your Hulk like you like your coffee with half and half, then this one's for you.
You didn't write that joke before.
I don't know. It didn't really appeal to me. I didn't know. I just came up with that one. That was pretty good. I don't know. I don't really need. Dakota had the brilliant idea before I had a green Hulk to say we'll just paint the other half green, which I guess that's a thought. But I don't know. I didn't get this one because it just didn't really appeal too much to me.
As much as I love the Hulk sculpt, and I have a green, a gray Maestro, and a red Hulk, the Compound Hulk just really wasn't doing it for me. I know if you jumped on that clearance sale, and now I think he's kind of shot back up a little bit above retail, so you would have been able to make a little bit of a profit on him, but not one that really has a place on my shelves. It did look pretty cool, and that was kind of around that time that I was really enjoying the Hulk comics too, and I probably have that issue, but just not the figure that's going to make its way onto my shelves. Figure that made it on its way onto your shelf, though, Jordan, is the GameStop exclusive Miles Morales, where he is invisible.
Yes, I do have that one. That's another one I haven't taken out of box yet, though. It's basically this figure, but it's blue and like translucent looking. I don't know. The blue translucent effect is not quite as cool as I thought maybe it would be, which is maybe why I'm like, maybe I'll just leave it in the box. Maybe I don't know. I do like the Miles sculpt, of course, but you kind of lose the cool detail of the sculpt with it being translucent. So it's a bit of a bummer. But I like the concept. I almost would have rather seen it like maybe he's phasing blue. Would have been kind of a cool effect. Like maybe you have like an alternate head or alternate... I don't know. It's a cool idea, but it felt like they were kind of like, hey, we've got this Miles sculpt. Let's just do it twice and make it an exclusive.
Yeah, I agree. The concept does seem really cool to have an invisible Miles.
Yeah.
But I would struggle to how would you display that, because I imagine Miles more when he's invisible, he's either being stealthy or like hiding from a villain, but that sculpt just doesn't.
Well, I managed to find the Chase exclusive invisible Miles. Yeah, I'm holding this one up for Dakota, but you actually can't see it at all. So it's actually probably the best figure ever made. But
we probably won't post that picture on our Instagram. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll put it in the story.
Chase Miles. Something like that. We also had Quasar was popular among some folks, but maybe not all folks.
I mean, as a Walgreens exclusive, you're never going to find it.
You're never going to find it, so it doesn't matter. Another kind of... So, who cares?
Yeah. I know some people really didn't like his cape. I don't know. The pictures I saw, I didn't necessarily mind it, but I'm also not a huge Quasar fan, so maybe it's not accurate, but not one that I'm really searching down to find. But, I mean, if you wanted to complete all of your Avengers, then I guess he's one. He does appear on one of my favorite covers. It's the Avengers #1 I think George Perez did the art. I'm pretty bad with the artists, but it was like when they're setting up the new team and they call in everyone that's ever been an Avenger, and then Morgan Le Fay comes in and takes them all back to medieval times. But that is a poster I'd like to get, and Kazar's on that, so that's really my only.
That'd be cool.
That's only my only knowledge of the characters from that short time that he was in that storyline. But moving from him, we had a 2-pack that was the Red Guardian and what is it, Melina? Is that how you say the mom's name?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've seen her at my GameStop, or both of them at my GameStop. They've been on clearance for a little while, but I mean, I think it is cool that you get so many accessories with the Red Guardian. He comes with an action figure in that, I think. So that's pretty fun. But I wasn't the biggest fan of the Black Widow movie, so they weren't ones that I was rushing to get, along with my lack of MCU collection.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless you've got anything there.
That one.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
The next, we've got the Excalibur 3-pack. That was a Hasbro Pulse and I believe a Shop Disney exclusive. Maybe I've got that mixed up with the X-Force 3-pack, but that one I know a lot of people are excited for because they wanted to complete their Excalibur team, because we've had some of those characters before. I think the only one that is missing from that team now is the Rachel, that Phoenix. So this was a pretty cool 3-pack. Came with that classic Shadow Cat, and then Captain Britain looked pretty cool. He had the alternate head sculpt, and then what was it, Megan, who had like crazy long hair, kind of looked similar to Medusa. I don't have the Medusa figure, so I'm not sure if that was the same or not. I think it was a little bit different, though, a little bit more curly than the straight hair. But not one that either one of us picked up. Not a huge Excalibur fan. I do like Nightcrawler, but I've got him by himself, and he'll just go with my X-Men team. Then, sticking with our 3-pack theme, we had the X-Force 3-pack, which I actually have here. So we've got Cannonball. Cannonball's got his legs in this version. We've got Domino, and then we've got Richter. So I know a lot of people were excited for the Richter character and excited to get Cannonball with legs, even though I don't know why you would ever display him with legs. I think he's going to look way cooler with his blasting effect. But you do get a different look on the blast effect for this one. I think Richter is definitely the main figure from this pack that looks good. This Domino, the purple translucent-ish details on her look pretty good, but not a huge fan of the little walkie-talkie thing she's got going on.
Yeah, it kind of obscures her face a little bit.
And I got one that luckily is on there pretty well, but I've seen some where it just isn't on center and really covers up half of her face. So it'd be a little unfortunate if you got that one, but pretty decent 3-pack. Comes with the box that has the older, I think 90s cards art display on the back and the sides, so that's kind of fun. I have I have the same cards that came on the Excalibur 3-pack, so that was fun.
And then we also have, I guess we've got the Wolverine versus Villains 5-pack, which I did not pick up.
Same.
Sames. I also want to pick up the Modoc Captain World Domination Tour. I saw some people, I guess with the Wolverine and the Villains, some people were upset that they reissued the Omega Red because we got one of him not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a bunch of Wolverines. But this one didn't really... I don't know. I was not too intrigued by it.
Yeah, I mean, the only figure in there that I really would be interested in is Cyber, but even then, I don't know that character at all. So not worth buying a whole 5-pack. Definitely didn't need the Jason Wingard Mastermind. Not a huge Callisto fan. And that Wolverine is not the Wolverine I would display. I've already got Omega Red. I do like that Omega Red, but not enough to try to replace the one that I've already got. I think this one came with an alternate head sculpt. Had slightly different colors. But yeah, similar enough that if you had the other one is going to work just fine for you. But one that we did both pick up, and if you listen to our episode on our top 10, was the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Venom, the retro carded cell shaded Venom, and he both made it into our top 5. So we both really like that figure. I think they may eventually I think they may eventually reissue him just in a solid black. Like we were just talking about Omega Red. This is on the Omega Red body. I think was a really good idea. Some people don't like that there's the ports on his shoulders.
Holes on his shoulders.
I think that's...
I really liked the red and blue shading.
I do too.
I think it captures the aesthetic of the comics really well. I think it looks really cool when it's like lit. Like you have the light hit it. Because really it helps bring out the definition of the figure, which I think is a clever one. Like, he just looks awesome. Like, I think this is the perfect size for a Venom. And, I don't know. I think...
Yeah, I agree. It is a very good size for Venom because he's not so large like with the Monster Venom, but he's still bigger than Carnage and Spider-Man. And yeah, I was worried about the red and blue cell shading. I didn't think I would like it, but now that I have it in hand, I think it was a good choice. Like you said, it does give more definition rather than just having one solid color figure. And that's the way it was in the animated series too, so I think that was why they chose to do the red and blue, which I think worked out really well. And then the last exclusive / deluxe was the Hazlab Sentinel, which I don't know about you, Jordan, but I wish I had it. Unfortunately, we weren't collecting at the time of the pre-orders. Otherwise, I may have dropped that stack of cash to get him. Looks really cool. I know some people complain about the knees. I've also heard some people that say they didn't have problems with that. Either way, I hope that they fix all those QC issues for when we get our Galactus, because I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I mean, the alternate heads were kind of cool with this. I like that it came with a master mold. I don't know the two regular figures that came with it as the tiers that were unlocked, but I'm excited for the unlocked tiers on Galactus, being able to get some of his heralds, and hopefully there's going to be some more heralds coming out this coming year before Galactus arrives. So that is the end of the sets and exclusives. Moving into the sets exclusives 2.0, we got the retros. So other than retro Venom, we got the retro Hercules, the retro J. Jonah Jameson, the retro Spider-Man 2099, retro Webman, and the retro Sandman. So I picked up J. Jonah Jameson 2099 Spider-Man and Webman. I think out of those, my favorite so far, I mean, J. Jonah Jameson, that's like probably your definitive J. Jonah Jameson, so that's good. But I really like the 2099 Spider-Man, and I actually picked up a second one from the groups because I'm just anticipating with the Spider-Verse coming out that we may see an increase in this figure, and I may be able to make back some of the monies that I have been spending on figures recently. So hopefully that investment pays off and maybe pushes me back towards the black a little bit. Comes with a detachable cape on the back. The cape is kind of that translucent clear white, ports on and off. But I think the paint job on him was pretty cool. I thought Webman was pretty fun too. I've got him on the shelf here beside me. Kind of a funny figure. He's supposed to be a clone of Spider-Man, but he's like the opposite in every way, where he's just really stupid because Peter Parker is so smart. One of Doctor Doom's clones. That Hercules, I know you were a fan of the Hercules from the earlier waves. And this one in the Speedo just really wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
just, I'm in the same boat. Just, yeah, I don't know. I think I liked the other one that came with like the mace and the sword. And I mean, this one had the classic little like mallet thing that he has. But, I don't know. Didn't really appeal to me too much.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I will say that seeing him in person, I like him more than just seeing the photos of him. But yeah, not necessarily one that I was going to pick up. I'd go for a different Hercules if I was going to get one. The retro card, though, that looks really good if you're into those. But then the last one was the retro Sandman. If you don't have the Sandman Build-A-Figure, probably just get the Sandman Build-A-Figure. Just something about this Sandman, it just doesn't quite look right, and it doesn't look like the right size. He's a little small. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've seen this one in person, and I have the Build-A-Figure Sandman, which really captures kind of like... Because a lot of the time, Sandman, it seems, is depicted as he's growing or he's, in some big sand monster form. So this one just felt kind of like tiny.
Right.
And I feel like the effects look kind of weird. And I don't know, just compared to the quality of some of the other retro cards, it just didn't really stand up for me. Yeah. So I'm glad I was able to get the Build-A-Figure together. But... if you don't want to track down all those pieces and you need a Sandman, then I guess this one might do the trick.
Yeah, that Sandman Build-A-Figure is kind of on the higher end of the Build-A-Figure price-wise. So if you can't trade for the pieces individually or find a good deal there, you are probably going to be paying more closer to that $100 mark, maybe even higher if you're buying him complete. Whereas this one, you're only going to pay that $22, maybe $25, depending on where you're at and what shipping is. So definitely a much more cost-effective, but you're definitely going to be taking that hit, I guess, with getting what you pay for. I mean, if you don't like the look of the retro and you don't want to shell out the dough for the Build-A-Figure, the old Spider-Man classics, I think that Sandman holds up pretty well. And he comes with a lot of different arms. You got the axe, I think the mace, a hammer, a like claw hand. So that one could be another option for you. And I don't think that one runs you too expensive. And that one looks kind of more sandy. So could be another option for you if you need a Sandman for your collection. But yeah, I did think that the idea of having the like shifting part where you poured on the like arm to sand and then to the accessory was a good idea rather than just a straight on accessory or like the Build-A-Figure where you have to have that whole arm where it's doing that transition. I thought that was a good way to get around that, like just a straight line cut off of his human arm to his sandy hammer. But yeah, not sure. I guess the Fantastic Four retro wave would also be a part of this, which was the classic Fantastic Four thing, Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Human Torch, and then we also had the two villains of High Evolutionary and Psycho Man. I picked up High Evolutionary. He's still in his box. He's up here on the shelf or on the wall. Pretty cool card back, I think, for this. Looks very similar to the old Fantastic Four toy line. And I mean, that's obviously what they're going for here. That Thing, a little too orange for me. The Mr. Fantastic is pretty decent. He might be one to add to our collection if we want to upgrade from the Toy Biz one that I have for when Galactus comes. Human Torch, I liked him. He was another smoky one that needs a bath. But I liked the translucent red on him. Psycho Man, I like to try to think where they're going to reuse parts for future figures. And with Psycho Man, I have no clue what they could do with that. I mean, maybe if they did a box set of some of the X-Men when they're doing like a Shi'ar going into space, or I just think of that like cartoon episode where they're all in like the spacesuits. Maybe they could reuse it for that, but I don't understand what they would reuse those for. Maybe it was just Psycho Man and that's it. Invisible Woman, probably the ugliest figure I've ever seen. That head sculpt was a huge bust. So hopefully you have a different Invisible Woman to head swap onto that, because
we didn't even pick that one up.
No. So that one,
so we can't show it to you.
I think everybody's seen that one by now, hopefully. And yeah, I think I like the suit, but that head sculpt needs to be replaced with the previous head sculpt from previous waves, either the Walgreens exclusive or the Super Scroll wave.
Super Scroll,
right?
Yeah.
But that is going to wrap it up for our year in review. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. This was kind of a three-parter here. Hearing our thoughts and feelings on some of the figures. And our next episode, little teaser, is going to be about the figures that we are most excited about that are coming up in this upcoming year, and the figures that we really hope to see announced in this upcoming year. So stick around for that. A new episode will be coming out shortly. And until then, you can subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to now. You can find us on Apple and Spotify, Google Podcasts, maybe even some other places. So if you find us other places, let us know where we're showing up. But make sure to leave a review, give us 5 stars. If you didn't think we did a good job, just don't leave a review. Don't say anything. We don't need the negative press.
We'll take an honest 4.
Yeah.
But that's as low as we'll go.
If you're going to give us less than a 4, just
don't even bother.
Just move along. We don't need the negative press. But hopefully you think we did a good job of talking about toys, because we're grown men and still collect action figures. And like, share, subscribe. Let your friends know if they enjoy action figures. They should be listening to this podcast. If they don't collect action figures, maybe we can convince them to. Until then, stay strong.